Oh, there we go. Yep, live. Hey guys, it's been forever since I've done a live stream. It's been forever since I've done a video, really. So, anyways, if you can see, I got my nice microphone right here. Hopefully, that's not too distracting being right there. It's not as distracting as my annoying voice, am I right? Actually, speaking of voices, before I get into the review, if you like what you hear in this, definitely stick around to the end because I got some fun news about this voice right here and other voices, which sounds crazy, but we're just going to skip over that and talk about Game Over Man, the movie from the Workaholics guys. Now, as a fan of Workaholics, like I love the show. I'm currently binge watching a season, all the whole show over again just for fun because I'm bored and there aren't great shows right now that I'm interested in. I'm waiting for all my shows to come back for a second season. So I was like, once I first heard about this, before even the teaser trailer dropped, I was like, okay, Workaholics guys making a Netflix movie. This is going to be great. Teaser drops. Oh, sweet. The Workaholics guys have their own movie and it looks hilarious. They're awesome. They have a little different look, but I like it. Then the trailer comes out. I'm like, okay. Looks like there's going to be some comedy I might not be a fan of, but still looks good. Movie came out today. I watched the first day it came out. Um, uh, so I'm gonna try to stay away from spoilers for a good amount of this, and I'll let you guys know when I start talking about spoilers. But for right now, I'm just gonna give you the general plot. Three guys. They're waiters slash janitors for a hotel. Right? Got it. That's the main cast from Workaholics. Anders, Adam, and Blake. It's not the real names. Actually, they're like a riff on the real names from the Workaholics show. That's not important. I'm just gonna talk about the Workaholics names because I don't remember the real names. I don't remember the characters in the movie. So that's what I'm going to do. If you get annoyed by that, I apologize. So the three guys aren't the greatest at their job, just like they are on Workaholics, and they kind of suck at it. But there's this huge party, this super rich Instagram star. That's exactly what happens. A rich Instagram star rented out the patio of the rooftop lounge area, and he's having a huge party with a bunch of celebrities, and they need to be waiters for the night because the hotel doesn't have enough waiters. So that's the setup of the movie. Also, terrorists come in, show up, wreck the party. The three guys are the only ones who aren't there when it happens, and so they're hiding in the hotel somewhere, trying to find a way to either escape or save the day. That's the whole plot of the movie. There's twists, if you can call them that, and all these different things along the way, but for the most part, that is pretty much how it goes. I don't know why I stroked the microphone right there, but anyways, that's the movie. So, acting. It was good. I didn't like the villain. There are two villains, as you find out in the movie. The first villain I enjoyed, and then the second villain, not so much. I didn't like the female villain. That's just because she was pretty violent. So, and I'm not okay. First off, I don't have a thing against violence when done correctly for the plot to be driven forward. I think, whoa, okay, it fits in great. Like in Daredevil season 1 and 2, whenever there was violence from a bad guy, it wasn't just mowing down people, blood over brains popping out. It was done for a purpose. Yes, I understand that action comedy movies like to go the excessive violence route. Tropic Thunder has violence, but it's not to the point where you're like, don't need this. This movie, for me personally, goes over the line. And this is coming from someone who's seen Inglourious Bastards and Django Unchained. Quentin Tarantino's really good movies that have violence in them to drive the plot forward. Sometimes he might have thrown something in, haha, it's funny if this happens. But for the most part, I've also watched all of Game of Thrones. So I'm trying to level the field of what violence I can handle. This movie went overboard for me, but we'll get to that. So acting wise, still, the three guys did great as usual. I kind of like Anders the most because they changed up his character from his typical very cocky character. And it's interesting. What they kind of did was Anders is the idea man. That's what the whole plot is, and Blake is the super genius inventor guy. And what he does is any idea that Anders has, Blake puts into action. So the guys have an invention idea. This is just one example of what happens in the movie. The guys have an invention idea. Really, it was Anders who came up with it. And then Blake actually wrote the schematics and programmed the computer and system and everything for it. So that's a little different than what the show was. Adam's more the odd man out. He's the stupid one, just like in the show. He's the closest to his character. He is smarter than his character on the show, which isn't hard to be smarter than Adam from Workaholics, but he is a lot smarter in this movie, which is good. Because there's a level of stupidity that I can handle. Adam was probably my least favorite character of Workaholics from time to time because he was just too stupid. But in this movie, they make sure he's more mature for the situation, which that fits. They did great. I love them. There were, as far as I could tell, only two Workaholics cameos. Jillian shows up for a very brief, under 2 minute scene. It was funny and was very something that she would do in Workaholics. That was nice, I guess. And then I don't remember the character's name, but the episode where the boss gets fired, and man, I'm horrible. I can't even remember her name. But when the boss gets fired, when Alice gets fired, and the guy comes in and take over and rearranges the whole office, and he's a creep, a really creepy dude with glasses, and he like shoots all the birds. When that happens, that boss guy, he's in this movie as a creepy boss. He just comes back as another creepy boss. Those are the only two people that I recognize from Workaholics besides the main guys, which was a little bit of a bummer. I would have liked to see more of the cast just pop up. I don't really think I've looked into their IMDb pages recently, and they're all not doing enough stuff currently that could have stopped them. I guess they just weren't invited or weren't interested. So, anyways, a lot of celebrity cameos. Joel McHale was in this, for him from Community. Another guy that was in this, Donald Azon from Scrubs. He was in there. Shaggy was in there. I don't personally know him as a star. I don't know him, but I think he was a real reference to a real star. So, that scene was pretty funny. You've seen it in the trailer. If you've seen it there, you're going to see it in the movie. What other celebrity cameos were there? There were a few more. But that's I think I feel bad. It's either Johnny Knoxville or Tasha O. I can't remember which one it is. But you're going to get angry at me for saying that. But it's one of them, and they die real quick. Spoiler, by the way, they're barely in it for like 2 seconds. They pop up and then dead real quick. That's the plot. If a celebrity's there, they're just there to get shot. That's pretty much what it is. So that's the course. I'll try to say anything else before spoilers. Like, overall, this was an hour and 47 or 41 minutes, if I remember correctly. An hour and 41 minutes. Multiple times I would pause it just to take a breather, and I would come back and be like, damn, I got that much left of this movie. Way too long. And that's sad, because it's not way too long. It's like, okay, the parts that were Workaholics, the parts where it was that clear writing style, and this was written by Carl, the drug dealer from Workaholics. They're all real friends in real life. He wrote this movie. It was directed by Anders, I believe. It was directed by Anders. So this is the same team you're used to. It's just they were like, hey, we got a big budget. What could we not do on the show because it was on TV? We couldn't drop the F-bomb without it being censored out, and we couldn't show nudity without it being censored out. So let's do both of those things. Adam has just a scene where his privates are showing full on, just you to look at. There are other scenes. I'll get into that in spoilers. But cussing is surprisingly not used as frequently as you would think, since they couldn't get away with it on TV. I thought of this earlier. I was like, I'm kind of disappointed because in the show, the nudity aspect, the guys, spoiler for the show, and if you have ears that don't like hearing about raunchy things, I turn away, but this is just immature guy stuff in the show. They often joke about showing their penises to each other, about the length. He's like, oh, you want to see this? I'm touching my pants right now. I'm like, oh, you want to see this? And so they unzip it, but then they're like, oh, never mind, I'm not going to do it. So you never see it. And if someone ever does whip it out, it's only for a moment that's like for comedy, and it's overplayed and it's censored out. So it fit the context, or it's hidden in a way that was funny for the movie. And here, it's just straight up, let's show it to show it. There was no art to it. And as much as there can be art to showing a male penis. I mean, you know what I mean? So anyways, a lot of gross out humor. The violence, like I said, I can handle violence. This was gross to like extreme levels. Like, I'll get into that in spoilers. If you really want to know the violence, I'm gonna talk about spoilers in 1 second. Let me just try to wrap it up for this part. The movie, I would not watch again. I only finished it because of how much I like the Workaholics guys. That's the only reason I finished it, because I didn't want to miss a scene where they were in it. And every scene where it was the typical, when it was just those three guys really hanging out, anytime in the movie when they're hiding, when they're on the run, when they're planning, those scenes were the best. Whenever they went back to the bad guys, there was something I didn't like about the violence, the sex humor. When it was stuff like that, I was like, all right, no, I didn't come here for you guys. I understand the plot has to go there, but the way it was written it didn't fit, Even in Workaholics, whenever they go to another character, they really stayed close to the three guys, you know? And that's just such a bummer. I mean, the workaholic stuff worked really well within this movie, but everything else, the movie is 25% workaholics, really, because they split up from time to time. They go and fight bad guys, and whenever they're fighting bad guys, it just gets violent. Um, yeah, that's really it. So, the workaholics parts of this movie, great. I really loved it. It was hilarious. Everything else, not so much. It has a 0 on Rotten Tomatoes right now. I don't know if I personally agree with 0, but it's low. Um, a lot of people ask me why I somewhat like Suicide Squad, and it's because it's DC, and so I like it to an extreme. I like it to more than the average person, but not considering it is a good movie. But even then, I'm telling you, this was below Suicide Squad of quality. So if you hated Suicide Squad, thought it was a horrible movie, this is below that. Okay, imagine if Suicide Squad had faces falling off and stuff like that, and extra violence. It's like it wouldn't make it a better movie. It's like here's a script that loosely works. Let's add a bunch of gross out and violence. That'll make it work better, right? You don't use that stuff as filler. You use it as padding for the extra. All right, that's the end of the review part. I'll talk about spoilers, but real fast, I want to say I would probably give this a 2 out of 10. A 2 out of 10, mainly because of the the workaholics guys, workout guys. If it was anybody but the workaholics guys, it'd get a 0 or a 1. Really, the only reason is because of the scenes they're in. And if you just watch the trailer and laugh at that, that's about the most laughing you're going to get, except for the few other scenes that they didn't include in the trailer that weren't with them in violence. So that's about all I can say. All right, time to get in the spoilers. If you love extreme violence, then this is the movie for you guys. There's a scene with a man's face that gets pressed onto a industrial meat slicer like the ones you see at the deli at the store, and he's screaming, and his ear falls off, and his face starts to get cut up, and you see it layers and layers of his face sliding out onto the tray. He lifts his face up, you see bone and jaw inside, you see blood. I'm like, oh. When you watch Workaholics, the first thing that comes to your mind isn't, oh, body horror. Yes, that would be a good fit. The bad boss from Workaholics that shows up in this movie as a manager, sleazeball. He's a sleazeball. I wouldn't mind him dying in the movie. They don't really kill him. They cause his penis to get sliced off. You see it fall to the floor. You see him pick it up and use it later as a weapon. You see that. You see un you see sexual acts you don't want to see. You see a man buried in a butt, and you see it. Like, I mean, you don't see, that, but you see too much. You see too much. Not just no. There are plot points that don't totally make sense. Blake's character is gay, but a closeted gay guy. So he'll make jokes throughout the movie, heavily implying that he does like men, but you're like, where are they going with it? Like, is it supposed to be just funny that he's closeted? Is that the joke? Um, and like even at one point he makes a joke. Someone says, "Oh, I'll never do drugs as bad as the mom from Moonlight," and Blake is like, "Ha ha! Oh, that's that movie. I didn't see that movie. I don't like the Moonlight. That's not my thing." He's like awkwardly about it. And he's like, then he says, and then he's like, "I'm more of a La La Land guy," which kind of defeats the purpose, buddy. But yeah, that's the whole thing. Two bodyguards are banging, and he's like, "Ew, gross," because they're both guys, and I'm like, what? So that's the extent of the humor they go with that. I don't know if I mentioned it earlier, but most of the movie relies on you're watching Die Hard, and what if this happened instead? What if this more extreme action happened? What if the terrorist just started shooting people? What if that happened? What if they took a guy's face and put it on a meat slicer? What if they cut his dick? It's like stuff like that. So it's like you're watching this action movie, but they went to extremes. Like, I'm guessing the guys were stoned when they wrote this and watching Die Hard, and they're like, what would happen if this happened instead? Or he made the hostages fight for their lives in like a gladiator style thing. That's what you get in this movie. So it's a lot of, if you imagine these things while watching Die Hard, you can finally see them. And if you're like me, I'll be like, yeah, now that I see it, I didn't really need to see it, just didn't need to. That's really what happens with this. So yeah. Wow. Yeah. Just no, a dog blows up. A guy eats the ass of another guy. Like not eats, but in the sexual way. Yeah, that's this movie. Yeah, it's a lot of that kind of stuff. And really, the workaholics parts, best parts of the movie. Really, that's it. And then you get everything else. Really, that's I can't. I'm at a loss for words really when talking about this movie because I had such high hopes, and it's not good. It's the same thing like Suicide Squad. I had such high hopes for that. I was so excited. Then I get it. I'm like, I'm bummed out. But with this, it's even more so because with Suicide Squad, you were seeing things that hadn't been tested yet. With this, you've seen season after season of the Workaholics guys, being consistently funny and them. And you're like, they're going to make a movie. And then they had all this, and they just went down to here. It's like, what were you thinking? It's sad, and I'm hoping it doesn't ruin their career because I definitely want to see them in more stuff. The only reason I finished this movie is because they were in it, because they wrote it, because they directed it, everything. That's the only reason I watched this. So, guys, I'm still a fan of yours. Very dejected, very sad, but I'm still there. So please, I hope this doesn't ruin it. Unrelated, I think it's kind of interesting that Netflix has had some shitty movies lately, like really bad. Cloverfield Paradox. Oh damn, I can't think of the other one. But they just consistently had critical failures with their movies, and now they get this. That's an actual zero. People are going to be ragging on Netflix for doing bad films. On my film review channel, which I don't use anymore, but I did talk about Beasts of No Nation. That's a Netflix movie. I love that movie. So good. That's probably the only good Netflix movie I've seen. Other than that, Netflix has been pretty shitty lately. Netflix somehow found a way to help workaholics ruin themselves. Anyways, hopefully I didn't sound too angry. I was about to say, I like the movie. No, I did not like the movie. I can't even lie. It doesn't even pass for anything. It's just violence for the sake of violence, gore for the sake of gore, sex for the sake of useless sex. The violence. There's a scene where this man gets a rock, puts it in a towel, and starts beating these men on the back, like their backs, and you hear the thud of the rock, and they're screaming in pain. I'm like, what am I watching? And that's the least violent. That's the least violent scene in the movie. Like I said, meat slicing, meat slicing. What was it? Oh, the whole point of him being gay. I feel like I might as well mention that if you guys care. The whole point of that character being a closeted gay man was in the height of tension at the end when they're about to go in guns a-blazing to save the hostages. He says, guys, I gotta tell you something. I'm gay. And they're like, we knew, buddy. We've known. Like, you've come out to us since high school. Every time you get drunk, you tell us. But then you've never told us when you're sober, so we just haven't talked to you about it. I was like, okay, that's what they did. And so the guys get their guns. Blake, the gay guy, doesn't have a gun. And he's like, we're going in there. And that's exactly how he acts. And they're like, but you don't have a weapon. And he's like, they just unleashed the most fiery weapon of all, an angry gay man. I was like, oh, is that why he was closeted the whole movie? They go in, guns a-blazing, get taken out by the woman coming in, and then Blake is like, I need you to apologize. I'm great. Blake's gay now. That's great. So he starts getting sassy, using the waving his hips and finger, starts beating up the woman. Best scene in the movie when they two fight, but it gets pretty short. Best scene in the movie. But that was the whole reason. That was the whole reason that Blake was gay in the movie. The whole reason was for that tiny scene at the end where he's flamboyant about it. Also at the end, he shakes his butt for a bunch of dudes on a boat. That's about it. So really, yeah, I don't know really what to say. Guys, I'm sorry. I'm sorry this movie didn't do so great. I'm sorry it's a 0 Rotten Tomatoes. You can do better. And hopefully you guys enjoyed this review, though. Hopefully you guys don't see this movie, unless you really want to hurt yourself. I don't know if it's so bad it's funny, because if you can't handle the violence and the nudity and the raunchiness of it, then you can't really just be laughing, because it's not cheesy enough. It's like real violence. You're not, oh, there's flesh. Okay, how can you laugh at that being bad? Even if it's a bad plot device, it's still there. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I'm done now. Thank you guys for watching. I'm happy you got to watch this 19-minute review instead of watching an hour and 40-minute movie. Don't watch it unless you're really drunk or something, because even then, I don't think anyone should watch this. Thank you guys for watching. I'm sorry. Oh, my announcement I had at the beginning. if you liked this, my take on this, and you like to hear other people talking to me, I have a podcast called The WA Show. You can go subscribe to it on iTunes, Google Play Music, Pocket Cast, everything. We're everywhere. I'll put the link to the SoundCloud version down below, but there's links in that to all the other websites you can subscribe to. It's The WA Show. That's what it is. And we talk about Star Wars, Marvel, DC, other movies, comics, TV shows. We talk about a bunch of stuff. And it's a lot of fun. It's all audio, so you can listen to it that way. But I want to start recording our sessions with video too and start uploading some of them. So definitely go check that out. It's a lot of fun. I rarely just talk by myself. It's usually other people. So if you thought that I needed someone talking with me for this, it's going to be that way. Especially my friend Will. I told him to watch this movie tonight, so hopefully he'll watch it. I feel bad for him. I didn't tell him how bad it was, but I want him to watch it so we can, suffer together on the podcast. So definitely, if you want to hear two people trash in this movie, subscribe to the podcast. That'll definitely happen. Thank you guys for watching so much. Hopefully you're here for the live stream, but if not, you're watching it afterwards. Subscribe, like, comment, all that stuff. Tell me why you suffered through this movie and how far you made it. If you made it to the end, congratulations. I don't know what you get, but yeah. Thank you guys.